these things, let the light shine bright. Fill my heart with joy, I walk in your light. Think on these things that lift us higher. True and honest, they light our fire. With joy, help that speaks from above. We honor our Lord with all love.
Hey, yeah, I love that song. So, hi, welcome to Tot. It is I, your girl, your host, Marilyn Gregory, aka MG, and I want to welcome you to Tot. We are here on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, bringing your word to lift you up, encourage you, motivate you, and give you food for thought. And y'all know I always say I'm not going to hold you long. Tonight's not going to be any different. I promise not to hold you too long. Go ahead and grab some people. Tell them to come on. Tell them MG is on and Tot is on. And she has a word for you tonight. So I am not going to hold you long. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So as most of you may have seen some of my videos last week, I was in Cartagena, Colombia. Having some dental work. I'm still swole. Wrong cheek. Still swole. It hurting a little bit today. But I had an opportunity to walk around the city, see some people, go to one of the villages over there, Palingua, I think I'm saying it right, to visit some people. And, you know, it just got me to think, and nobody there really spoke English, right? So it really got me to thinking, y'all, about what Paul said in Galatians 5:14. He said to love your neighbor as yourself. You know, that sums up really all the commandments. That and to love God with all your heart, mind, body, soul, right? So I thought about that, and then, you know, I wondered also, I know we may ask ourselves this question of who is our neighbor? Is it the person that lives next door to us, across the street from us, down the street from us? And I would be willing to bet, y'all. Now, I wouldn't call myself a betting person, but I would be willing to bet that most of us, including myself, don't know the person who lives on the right and left side of us. I would be even willing to bet, y'all, that's my alarm to put my cream on my stitches where I have my, anyway, I would be willing to bet that most of us don't know half the people on our block, myself included. But you know, our neighbor doesn't stop there. My neighbor is all the people that I met when I was in Cartagena. Everybody that I walked past, everybody that I met at the hotel, everybody that I met at the dentist's office or sitting down to have dinner or lunch, and everybody I met in every store that I went into. Everybody who approached me and as I was walking down the street to try to sell me something, all those people are my neighbors. And even though they don't speak my language and I don't speak their language, the commandment is the commandment, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself. So how would I want someone to treat me if someone came over that didn't speak English, or, you know, or just me going to someone else's country and not speaking Spanish? Would I want that person to come over there and expect me to know their language? Or should I go over there prepared and able to speak to them in their native language? Because I can't minister to them if I can't speak their language, right? They can't minister to me if I don't speak their language. Now, how I carry myself, how I treated them, how I made them feel when they interact with me, yeah, that can make a difference. I could show love that way, right? But even coming back home, who is my neighbor? Is my neighbor just a person who um, believes the way I believe, looks the way I look, dresses the way I dress, talk the way I talk? No. The whole LGBTQ, LGBTQT, they're my neighbors, right? The people who voted Republican, they're my neighbors. People who voted Democrat, they're my neighbors. People who worship Buddha, they're my neighbors. Um, Trying to think of some other religions, y'all. Shame on me, right? Muslims, they're my neighbors. We don't get to choose or pick or decide who our neighbors are. We don't get to pick and choose and decide as Christians, as followers and disciples of Christ, who we're going to love as we love ourselves. It doesn't say that my neighbor is the person who believes like I believe, who the person who dresses or looks the way I dress. My neighbor is everybody. And he gives us an example in the story of the Samaritan, where Jew walked by him, the priest walked by the man, but the man who was in need. But it was a Samaritan, someone that the world at that time looked down on, right? They thought that they were scum or beneath them. That's the person who helped the man who was in need. That was the person who made a sacrifice. He sacrificed his time because he was on his way to somewhere, just like the other ones were on their way to somewhere, right? But he stopped. He sacrificed his time and his money to help somebody who was in need. When was the last time we did that? When was the last time you saw somebody on a corner in front of a store, and they needed help, and you made it a point of not making eye contact? You made it a point of going in a different direction. Yeah, I'm trying to shame you. Not really. But I just want us to think about it. Or do we only help people when there's cameras around or there's other people around who can pat us on our back and tell us how great a Christian we are, how holy and righteous we are? Or do we do it when nobody else is looking? When it's just you and your neighbor? That person, your neighbor is that person who needs you at that moment, regardless of where you are, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of where you're heading. Your neighbor is that person who needs your help at that moment. That's our neighbor. And that is the person that Paul is saying in Galatians 5:14 that we should love like we love ourselves. Do we mistreat ourselves as we are? We shouldn't. So we need to think about that. Think about these things that I'm talking to you about now. Do you know your neighbor? Do you know the person to the left or the right of you? Do you know the person across the street from you? What about the person who's at your favorite coffee shop that you see every day? How do you treat them? What about the person that serves you when you go out to dinner? How do you treat them? Do you even bother to get their name so that you can call them by their name? Something to think about, right? Because when you want someone calling you by your name, or would you want them to say, hey, you? Just food for thought, y'all. We got to do better. as a people, as a nation. Because how we treat the people who can not reciprocate, that really shows who we are. That shows our character. It shows our heart. So are you loving your neighbor as yourself? And are you just picking and choosing like cherries who that neighbor is that you're going to love like you love yourself? Or is it everybody that you come in contact with every single day? Think about it. And then make the adjustments that you need to make. Ask God to give you a heart for the people that He put in front of you every single day. Ask Him to help you understand their plight and not judge, but love. So, that is all I have for y'all tonight. I appreciate you on my journey through my little mouth restoration thing here I'm going through. Go back in August, take y'all with me. So that's all I have for tonight. I love y'all. Y'all know there's not a thing in the world y'all can do to change that. Go out there and be that change that you want to see. Peace out. Have a great, great rest of your week.
We're searching for the truth deep in our lives, breaking through the barriers to darken the lights. Every thought we carry shapes who we are. Believe your mind, reach out and you'll go far.